Stand by. This episode of Image for Hire is brought to you by Your Name Here Products. Greetings, Cave Dweller. Welcome to Image for Hire. This episode will be discussing physical theater. Today I'll be talking with... Don Russell, Brian Rott, me. The collaborative performance between the Milwaukee Cooperative Performance and Quasi Mondo Physical Theater. Their production, Celcius 232.
Thank you. Oh, look at this.
This is just water.
Okay.
In 2 seconds, I'm going to slate against my face, and then we'll start. Okay. Don Russell, Brian Rott, Milwaukee Collaborative Performance.
Cooperative performance. You're eventually going to get
Starts
to it.
with a C.
Yeah, a lot of things in this town do.
Cream City.
Yeah.
Quasi Mondo Theater.
Yep.
All right, so how long have you two been... Well, okay, you're collaborating on the show,
Yep.
which is called Celcius 243.
232.
232. Damn, I've been telling everybody the wrong numbers. I hope they understand. I hope they don't
It's
go
a
to the
made-up
wrong one.
tomato.
Well, it depends. I mean, how familiar they are with the metric system.
That's true in conversion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, tell us about it. And why you decided to collaborate.
Well, we decided to collaborate because we worked on the Performance Ecology Project about a year ago. And that was a collaboration between our two companies. But Don and I didn't get to directly work together too much on that project, and we had kind of known each other for a bit of time, and we wanted to work more closely. So we started brainstorming ideas. This is the one that kind of rose to the top.
Yep.
And we pitched it.
To each other?
No,
Well, okay. So cooperative performance is a co-op. So
Yes, okay, tell us about that.
Yeah, it's member-owned and operated, which means we don't have an artistic director. So we're not a traditional theater company. We're kind of a performance company that works in a very democratic way. So if we don't have an artistic director, we don't have someone choosing our season. So how do you do that democratically? We have any member of the company is welcome to pitch a project for the following season, and anyone present, members or general
non-members,
public,
too.
yeah,
The general public can vote.
yep. They get less of a weighted vote, so the members get a weighted vote.
Okay.
And then, so we do it based, any member gets, I believe, 5 votes, which they can distribute however they want for every project that's been pitched. They can put all 5 in one project, they can do 1 vote for 5 different projects, whatever, and then general public gets 2 votes.
Oh, okay.
So it's weighted for the members.
Sure.
But general public gets to vote as well. So then we vote on all of the projects pitched, and the top, usually it's the top 5 votes go to the board of directors, and the board of directors then looks at those projects, and we choose projects based on similarity of theme and feasibility economically and financially, and what might work for the community.
Okay, as far as bringing in ticket sales.
Oh, that's a consideration because we are a company that needs to stay afloat.
Yeah.
But really, what we're geared toward is speaking to the issues that concern our communities. So it's part of our mission statement. So we look at the projects and see which ones align most closely to what our mission is, and then from that we'll choose 3 or 4 based on how we're doing financially, what's feasible for the season.
All right, how does Quasi work? And you're not a collaborative at all. We're a tyranny, right?
we
You're the head honcho.
We are a tyranny. No. No, we have an ensemble, and it's it's a little similar in the fact that ensemble members kind of pitch shows, in the spring of the year prior to the company, and we kind of decide through a discussion the pieces that we want to do. Collaboration is like a tenet of our company that we try to work with other companies or other just groups in Milwaukee. So that this collaboration with Cooperative Performance made this was something that we wanted to do. So this it was greenlit. It was selected.
So the two companies got together to vote.
No, we did it separately, right?
Yeah, we did it. Yeah, we did it separately.
Oh, okay.
And like I said, we our ensemble. It's about 7 different people. Most of them are involved with this production in some way, But Andrew Parchman pitched a show, and he has another original kind of piece of horror theater that he's doing again in the spring this year. And the others are collaborations of one way or another. So we don't vote, but we discuss, and then depending on what fits the schedule.
I see. All right.
But yes, there was 2 separate groups that more or less had to vote.
But what's really nice about it is the way both of our companies function. Is we're both into very non-traditional theater.
That's true.
Yes. And how non-traditional are you? And are you the only non-traditional ones in Milwaukee?
I don't think we're the only ones. No, we just happen to be similarly non-traditional. I think we both have a penchant, if that's the right word, for physical theater or movement-based theater, non-linear type work, things like that.
Non-linear.
And both companies strive to collaborate with other companies and create networks of artistic groups that way. So I think that's really why the 2 companies really sort of aligned on this project.
Yeah, as well as creating original theater. And using devising as part of the process.
Devising. That's what you call it? Tell us about devising. How does that work?
Devising is a process in which all of the artists involved with the production, through discussions and like various exercises, create the backbone and structure of the performance through the rehearsal process and the artists involved. So it's the pieces that we make are entirely dependent on the artists we're working with. Now, sometimes we go in having more of a structure than not, but sometimes it can be themes or a topic. In this case, the backbone was Ray Bradbury's novel, Fahrenheit 451. But we, called it Celcius 232 because we wanted to, make our own adaptation of it to be inspired by the narrative and the themes, but not to be beholden to it.
Right. You'll recognize the story, but we took a different thread through it.
Sure, and you have to. I mean, it's 50, 60, 70 years later. Some of those things came true.
Right, and are coming true.
Yeah.
So we focused on those ones, the ones that align closely to the culture that we currently live in, the things that echo our world to a rather terrifying degree, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I agree too. Tell me about your backgrounds. How'd you end up in physical theater versus theater?
Do you want to go first?
Yeah, I can go first. Let's see. I was originally really sort of rooted in traditional theater, doing plays and things like that. I like the more the edgier type work, and then oddly, when I was in college, I was exposed to a Japanese traditional theater form called Kyogen.
Kyogen.
Yeah, it's a comedy. A satirical art form it has structured movement and things like that. It's based out of the No, and I really fell in love with it, and so then I started exploring No and then other Japanese art forms, which led to other Asian art forms. And what really spoke to me about all of that was it was non-realistic, but it retained an element of aesthetic beauty and human truth to it. So I continued exploring various Asian art forms, and then I ended up getting my master's degree in South Carolina, and I studied under a couple of folks who were really well trained in Suzuki method and slow tempo method from a Japanese artist named Shogo Ota, and it really opened my eyes to how physical theater can speak on a fundamental level where words simply can't reach. So that's why I started really focusing on that.
Excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Brian.
Yeah, very similar path, actually. I mean, I would say, not in the details, but I also had a background that was grounded in traditional, like, Western theater. Realism, you know, is kind of like the dominant form, with written plays, Shakespeare, and musicals being kind of the backbone of American theater. And I was kind of like set on being a director for regional theater, and I was doing like some work at some regional companies. This was an undergraduate, in my summers off.
Sure.
And then I did a study abroad program at the Moscow Art Theater my senior year. And I was just kind of exposed to a lot of different performance traditions that were, you know, either transplants that toured in Moscow or, you know, part of their regular schema of theater. And it kind of like opened my eyes to the potential for, you know, for performance, that it didn't have to be as linear, that there could be a lot more expression and truth that came out through physical movement and styles, and, you know, different types of pedagogy that had especially been developed in Europe and the East. So from there, I went completely off track down this path of physical theater. And I studied for my master's degree at the Accademia dell'Arte in Arezzo, Italy, and I studied commedia dell'arte and clowning and circus and puppetry, and it was kind of a Jacques Lecoq based system.
Jacques Lecoq.
Jacques Lecoq, who's fantastic. I'd say that devise, you know, my process of devising is very much inspired by his work and the teachings of his school and The Moving Body, which is his big book. But yeah. So in following that, I tried to seek out different ways of theatrical expression that I was unfamiliar with, and then we started a company kind of based on that.
Clowning versus circus versus, what was the other one you mentioned? Something also physical. Anyway, but you love clowning. And when we all think of clowning, we think of bozo. But that's not clowning at all.
No, it isn't. That's very accurate. We mostly would think of, bozo, like kind of clowns that perform at birthday parties, or evil clowns.
Making animals. Oh,
that's right.
Or insane clowns.
Or insane clowns. They're all bad. They're like all of the things that we as Americans think of is bad.
Well, they're good at what they are.
Right. Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
Right.
That's very generous of you.
Thanks.
Yeah. I mean, and I'm not sure exactly where it started. Maybe Gacy was you know, and then it. But yeah. So clowning for me is it's an expression. It's a form of performance that really has the potential to get at the nature of humanity. And for me, clowns are also historically more so are used to subvert the status quo. That clowns are truth tellers. That going back to the king's jester who could say what the others couldn't say, and people could laugh at it as so to like purge and air those feelings. So for me, and I think our approach has been with this show is to use clowning as truth tellers, as a way to subvert the power structures that are currently set.
Clowns to subvert the clowns. Tell me about the Suzuki method. What is your focus in physical theater? I understand it's Suzuki method, but I'm not sure if that's true.
Well, I use that and variations on it developed by a company called P3 East, which my mentors are artistic directors of. I use that just simply to find common vocabulary with performers, because at this level of theater, it's very difficult to have a studio of performers that work full-time in that studio. So you end up with multiple performers coming from various backgrounds, with various training levels and experiences, and they're all coming with these sort of disparate and wonderful techniques and tools that they use. But then when you're trying to create an ensemble on stage that matches each other, a common physicality on stage, I find Suzuki and the P3 method to be very useful in finding that common vocabulary, is how I typically use it.
Between everybody that's coming in from different places.
That's the idea. We did not use it much on this particular show, simply because we didn't have the time for it. But usually what I'll do is I'll spend the first week of a production going through the training with folks, just to get a common vocabulary, so I can say, okay, we need to be moving at this rate of speed. We need to be walking in this style. Whenever you're going to the floor, can you go to the floor in this way? And it also helps ground and center performers, which oftentimes when we watch a performance and we say, wow, that performer is, I'm just engaged. I can't stop watching them. Their performance is so honest and truthful. Usually what that means is they are grounded, and they are comfortable in their body and physicality, and they don't tend to do excessive, unnecessary movement. And what this training does is it helps center someone. It helps them find their center, help them find their grounding, and help them find efficiency of movement in the way the body was designed to move. Oftentimes, through habits developed within one's lifetime, we end up moving in inefficient ways that our bodies weren't designed to move, and that's often why we have chronic pain, back problems, neck problems, why things read as false, things like that.
Things read as false? What do you mean?
So,
while acting, you mean?
While acting.
Okay,
yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
And then that's interesting because those are like the regular. That's how we shape our bodies outside as ourselves. And then when people get into the rehearsal hall, then they add on a completely new set of
falsity.
Falsity.
Yes.
What?
It's true. And it, in a way, like my work with clowning is also similar in grounding the actor and trying to find simplicity and just being comfortable with and honest with themselves on stage. And we actually did start the process
with little Suzuki
with workshops, doing Suzuki from Don and clowning from me. And I think, at least in some way, that served as the kind of ensemble glue and training, that assisted the actors in coming together as an ensemble.
Yeah.
Are we coming together?
Yeah.
I'm one of the
What
clowns.
do you think? What do you think?
It's hard to tell on stage. I mean, and of course I've been absent many times. I apologize again, but I never get to see the plays I'm in, so I don't know how it looks at all.
And you can't just watch a video
And-
of it.
No,
because
it's
it
not
just
the
doesn't
same.
translate.
No,
But
it
can you
doesn't.
feel it sometimes?
Not yet.
Okay.
I can't. No, I'm still so focused on what comes next and what I'm supposed to do.
Right.
Hopefully the magic of Tech Week will
I'm counting on it.
lock
Yeah.
you in.
Yeah.
I think it will. I trust that it will. Was Quasi just bought a new facility?
Yep.
It's a firehouse.
Yep, that's true.
Is that why you chose firemen to be the first show? Don't say no.
Well,
Okay, you want to say no. Tell me the truth. Be honest.
I'm trying to be honest here. I think so. I
It definitely contributed in the discussions we had.
it did.
Okay.
No, yeah.
That's what I would assume.
From the beginning, we said we were going to perform it here because it was like a perfect site-specific location. Given how, especially on the first floor where we're performing, that it was a historical firehouse for the the ladder and hose companies in 1901, Volunteer Fire Department of North Milwaukee. So we wanted to use that, and I think sure that there's a certain christening that's auspicious.
Yes.
About having the show be
spoken.
there. Mhm.
I agree, 100%.
Yeah.
It would have had to have been this. What else could it have been?
Well, right. I mean, yeah, it's kind of. I mean, for me, it's like collaboration, ensemble work, clowning, and social justice, and freedoms and truth and firefighters. It's like everything that I wanted to be for our first show there.
It was almost as though it had to be that show.
Right. and this and and oh my god. A few months ago, when we were looking at the realities of staging it there with things like the heating.
Was it daunting?
Well, we revisited the conversation, and we were like, "Are we really gonna do it here? Because it's gonna be cold and it's gonna be a lot of work." And we decided that it was important to have it there. So
Okay. And it is a lot of work. The place is gutted.
yeah,
There's a lot of challenges. How are you overcoming some of these?
Elbow grease.
Yeah. That's about the only way.
Yeah.
the cast has been great. You guys have been really patient with the progress of where the space has been for the rehearsal process and working under the limitations that we've had. So I think I can say for both of us that we've been very grateful. For your guys' work.
Oh, thank you. How do you see it shaping up?
I love the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're in a pretty good place. I mean, you could always wish that we were just a little further along.
Mm-hmm.
But I look at it and I think opening, it's going to be ready. I think it's nearly ready right now. There's just a couple things that need tightened up, and most of it is, and then beyond that, most of it is just getting the tech integrated, set up and integrated. Oftentimes you find that you never feel like a show is ready to open, and that's good. You should never feel like the show is ready
Because that's a false security.
It's both a false security and it means that you're not seeing where else it could go. A show can always grow, always grow. Like a work of art is never done. It should never.
No,
be
that's
done.
true. I mean, there's examples right behind you.
So if you feel like there's nothing else I could have done, or the opposite trap to fall into is refusing to open it until it's ready. Well, it's never going to be ready, so you'll never open it.
Right.
Yeah.
But there's this balance that you need to strike where it feels good to know that you are just about there. It's ready to open. It's not perfect. There are things that can be tightened, and that's where I feel like we are.
How do you feel about actors who change their performance every run because they're always trying to improve it? Does that bother you, or does that?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, okay, yes and no. For me, I think that every performance should be different.
Okay.
But that doesn't.
It's not completely different.
But right. Not completely different. I mean, as a performer, And what we try to do as directors is that there are a lot of pathways, for individual performers, for beats they need to hit, places they need to be.
Sure.
And then in between those moments, there's a little bit of breathing room to vary it up, in which it doesn't affect the other performers on stage. It doesn't affect the overall timing and feel of the performance. So yeah, I think responsible performers and comfortable within those boundaries, there is room to play. But I certainly don't condone like open improvisation that is really throwing things off.
Sure, no. Yeah, I think most people would probably not do
Because
that.
then what was the rehearsal process for?
Right.
Precisely. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
If you're trying to craft a storyline and you're trying to craft a piece that speaks to an audience in a certain way, to speak a perspective, it takes time and effort in order to craft that. And then if you completely deviate away from that, then the point of it is in jeopardy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm a strong believer in a solid, tight structure, because that gives the performer, myself as a performer, I love a nice solid structure.
Oh, yeah.
So that I know I have exactly this much room where I have complete freedom.
Right.
Complete freedom within this structure. That's how theater can live and breathe, I think.
Right.
Yeah. And that's part of the process. What did you name the process? Distended? You didn't use that word.
The devising process?
Devising process.
The devising process.
Sounds divinatory. Is it magical? And basically, it works off your ideas plus encouraging improvisation. Like one of the first things, you're in the firehouse, you're doing your job, you have a problem. And then we had to make up what that was, and then we all refined it.
Right. Yep. Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of work
Yeah.
to make believable, right? Acting in an area where there's nothing.
It's for me. It's kind of liberating in a way. You just have to trust the process and trust the people that you're working with. I mean, if something isn't working, you can always like refine it and work it out. But yeah, I mean, that scene that you're talking about, everyone kind of came up with stuff, and then we just had to look at it and clarify: is this moment working? Is this reading to the audience? Is the eye following the focus of the story that we're telling? And more so, I've always been surprised and delighted by what the people I'm working with come up with, through their own imaginations.
Yeah. I think that's a wonderful process.
Yeah.
Harnessing everybody's imagination can only make it stronger.
Yeah.
Do you work like that at all, Don, in your shows?
I work like that in a much more limited capacity. One thing I admire about the way Brian works is how much input he brings from performers in that way. Go make something, bring it back, let's refine it. I work in a much more structured way where I'll have pretty much the show planned out. I'll bring in choreographers for a heavy movement-based piece. I'll bring in choreographers to choreograph those elements of it, and then I will refine and request input from performers on how else we could possibly shape something. So I encourage input from performers, but it's less of an open devising process and more of a, once we've developed the structure, we can now add to it. I like to be able to see the piece in a semi-refined place before adding too much actor input. I think that's just coming from a very structured background. I think that's part of what that is in me, is I have a clear image of what I'm looking for, and I encourage the input from the actors once we've gotten something in shape. And a lot of that also has to do with the limited amount of time we usually are working within at a company our size, because we don't have our own performance space and it costs money to rent rehearsal space.
Mm-hmm. Oh. And it is scary at times too. I mean, I think a recent example is in like one of the last scenes of the show. There, I asked a performer to write a song in which he was going to sing. And And it's kind of a
Have
pivotal.
you ever done that before?
Done what?
Write a song and perform a song? Is he a singer?
He's a singer.
Okay.
So I knew he was a singer.
Okay.
And I know him personally as a very intelligent and creative guy. But it's kind of an important scene near the end of the show. And, with 7 rehearsals left, I'm like, Ben, do you...
Wait,
where's the song?
How many
Where's
total
the song?
rehearsals are we talking about? There's over 20. And there's 7 left, and you're like, throw in a song.
No. I had asked him earlier. But,
okay.
But he hadn't produced it yet. And I'm like, Ben, you need to get down that song. And I think both Don and I are like, what's he going to come up with?
Are you going to give me some music? Are you going to give me some music? I need to hear the music because I'm
Right.
running the sound.
Yeah.
But then, and we were both kind of worried about it.
Yeah.
But, wasn't ready to cut it yet until we saw what he brought in. And then in a day, he brought the music and he sang it, and it was kind of beautiful.
It was really beautiful.
Riveting.
And
I
perfectly
was
fitting.
shocked.
Right.
Yeah.
It just made that whole scene. I don't know if it was alive before that, but it just took it
It made it blossom.
way
Yes,
beyond what
it
it
did.
was.
It did. Absolutely. So that was like, it's kind of scary sometimes. But then it can be rewarding. Yeah. It can also go the other direction.
Oh, no, definitely. And you have to be willing to be hard and say, I'm sorry, it just doesn't work. We need to cut it, and you need performers to be ready to accept that.
Yeah, that's what I respect about you, Don, and with your style of directing. You're direct in your directing. You're like, okay, we're not doing that.
I try to be because I think that's respectful and it's honest.
Yeah.
And when I first started directing, my mentor Robin, she said to me, Don, your first responsibility as director is to make the actors look good.
Interesting.
And I've taken that to heart, and I bring that every time I come into the rehearsal room. I'm not cutting things because I don't respect the actors, or because I'm being cruel or anything like that, or because I'm like nailed down to my vision. I cut things because only if they're not serving the overarching story, only if it's just simply not working. It might be a brilliant idea for a different show.
Yeah. That you have to kill your darlings. That's
You have to kill your darlings,
really
or there's not enough time for it.
Sure.
And we've been cutting stuff up until this week.
Yeah.
Our goal was 60 minutes. We're at 75.
Yeah.
Oh.
So it's pretty close.
Yeah.
Are we going to cut anything else?
Not full scenes. I got a couple little cuts in my head, but they won't affect the dramatic structure of the show.
Okay. What can the audience expect seeing Celcius 343?
232.
Celcius 2. I'm going to write that down.
Oh, that's a good idea.
They can expect. I think they can expect to be surprised by how contemporary the themes in Ray Bradbury's Fahrenheit 451 as we depict them, how contemporary and relevant it feels to where we are as human beings, kind of currently living in a fractured society, in a society that is where truth is becoming a sliding kind of, I don't even know what to call it anymore.
It's on a grayscale.
Truth is a great
sliding on
grayscale. Grayscale right now.
Yeah.
So I expect people to think, but I also think that there's a lot of comedy, and I think that people will have a lot of fun with this show, and hopefully they'll also think of you.
Yeah. My hope is they should expect to have, like you're saying, the mirror held up to them in a non condescending or pedantic or attacking way.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it would have been easy to be condescending with this text, or to particularly create a piece that speaks to certain groups. But I think it's that we've done a really good job, in not alienating.
I think you're right. And
the voice.
Yeah. Part of the success is in the ending dialogue of Beatty. he convinces me in that dialogue. I'm like, he should.
Yeah.
I can see that.
The antagonist should have the audience on their side. Otherwise, I think we're failing as storytellers.
Yeah, it becomes a cliche then. Kind of a
it becomes
cartoon.
It becomes a soapbox dictation rather than a human experience. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Anything else from you?
I don't know. Oh, I have something.
Yeah.
Okay, so the history of theater. It originated in religious ceremonies. Is that correct?
Probably.
That's my belief.
That's yeah, okay.
Well, but maybe not. Well, why does it have to be religious?
And when I say religious, I don't necessarily mean going to church. I mean
Like spiritual.
yeah, and actually invoking something supernatural.
Yeah.
Really? I mean,
What does that?
I don't know. I mean, could people have been playing out scenes about their grandparents or telling their favorite story dramatically before religion? I think that's possible too. I think it could be secular or non-secular.
So nobody knows.
I don't believe that theater is attached to the spiritual.
Okay. Can it be? Does it need to be? Is this show? Will people get saved?
I'm an atheist, so if I were to, I think for me spirituality can be very much associated with the magic of humanity. So if you want to kind of put those things together,
I think
yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. How do you feel about the location of the show? The physical location? Do you anticipate it being problematic? Well, where is the firehouse?
So the performance is on 35th and Villard, located in the neighborhood of Old North Milwaukee. So it's on the north side of town, and I think a lot of our patrons will be unfamiliar with that being a destination, a place to go see theater.
I agree.
Right.
It is an unfamiliar idea to be a destination.
But I don't think it's a problem at all. I think it's a benefit. I think it's a benefit to the local community, and that's part of what we're doing. With the art house, is that we're bringing theater and the arts to a community where there isn't much activity regarding the arts.
Yeah. That's wonderful. That's how you expand, because it's all, the arts are kind of locked into like this narrow band along the lake. In Milwaukee, it's much bigger than that.
Absolutely.
Who's going to branch out first? You, apparently. Quasi Mondo.
That's what
Congratulations.
That's what we're doing.
What are your plans?
Plans?
To embrace the neighborhood.
Well, it's certainly we're still fundraising right now to make like the renovations. I think this show will be nice to spread the word of mouth about our plans. But this performance takes place in a quarter of the building. But our plans are to make the North Milwaukee Art House into a center for arts and education. And we've been in discussions with a few other local arts groups to be permanent tenants there. And we plan to be renting out the facilities to teachers and other theater companies for performances, for workshops and educational programming, working with local schools and community groups too, to provide access to the arts.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's great. And how big is, you have the building?
Yep.
And what do you have, the yard behind it?
Well, there's a section behind it, but we also we have a lease with the block to the north of us to create a community garden and parking area there as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
How about the tomato patch? Are they partnering up at all?
Probably. I mean, it'll be a great place to get drinks after a show.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're really nice people.
Are they? You've been there? I haven't been there yet.
I've been there. I've been there. They're very friendly. Yeah.
Cool. I can't wait. Can't wait to go there after the show.
Actually, one of
In my
them
dress.
is like already like, if you're looking for an actor, let me know.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Right.
Did he come to the audition?
No, he didn't.
Too bad. How was that audition? You're already auditioning for the next show. Are
Yeah.
you also?
Yeah, December 5th is our next audition.
What's that like? Non-stop productions.
Wonderfully exhausting.
It is exhausting. That's funny that you put the word wonderfully in front of it.
I get to make stuff
Yeah, that's cool.
all the time. How beautiful is that?
Pretty beautiful. Also fun.
Yeah.
It is fun.
Okay, so what else needs to be done? So we talked about how awesome the show is. We talked about the themes. We
That's
talked
right.
about clowning, physical theater. How much mime is involved? Are we all going to come out juggling at the end?
No, not juggling. But actually, I was surprised. I don't even remember why why, when, and where we started the miming. Maybe it was just because we didn't have props.
Yeah.
But as we went, as we were creating those scenes in the beginning, we kept using mime, and then it became part of the regular vocabulary for the show.
Go, really?
Yeah.
I was under the impression that it was going to be an all mime thing, and then at one point you're like, well, we're going to get props. I'm like, what? There's going to be props?
No, but I love it with the miming.
Yeah.
And I think everyone's doing a really solid job with it. Which it's a really difficult thing to do, a good miming.
It's incredibly
It
difficult.
is. That's why I'm shocked.
Bad
that-
miming's easy, but good
Right.
miming is really difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody does bad miming.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
It's great.
Actually, like truly skilled mime artists are, for me, it is like kind of stunning to watch
Yeah.
really skilled mime artists.
You see a world
Yeah.
of objects just
Oh, yeah.
come to life.
It's so specific. You have to have so much control. It's such a specific type of training. I don't know if there's any schools in the U.S.
I think the closest you would get is White Church near Spring Green.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Seriously?
Well,
Spring Green is the only one in the U.S.?
I don't know.
well,
It's the only one in the U.S.
Oh, that's
it's the
the
one
closest one.
I know of immediately.
and
jumps to mind.
they're like
They're a mime.
a decrew,
Yeah.
corporeal mime.
Yeah.
What? There's different kinds of mime?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Corporeal mime is more like expressionistic.
Yeah.
What?
Right.
Like how? What does that mean?
It's not concerned with creating the artificial representation and illusion of imaginary objects.
Okay.
So it's my understanding, at least, that it's more about putting it's somewhere between mime and modern dance.
And modern dance.
Whoa!
It's like you took mime,
embodiment.
modern dance, and clowning, and you threw it in a blender.
Yeah.
That's corporeal mime.
That's corporeal mime, and there's the White Church Project, which is right outside of Spring Green, with I forget their names,
Yeah.
but one of them was direct descendant and worked with DeCrew's company.
I think both of them were.
Really? Yeah. For a long period of time. I was, like what we use in the show more is that trying to get the realistic portrayal of imaginary objects, which I would like is more the traditional Marceau
Yeah.
pantomime.
Oh, okay.
But I know, I know there's like, in Europe, and there's 4-year schools, for mime. It's like dance. It really takes such specific skills. But they do learn, like at those schools, they do learn corporeal mime too. It's not all just about objects. It's that when you're not working with objects, then your imagination can go into the body and change into different forms too.
So your body can become a machine.
Right. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
for instance.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen stuff like that. Now that you mention that specific example.
Yeah, there's a lot of play, between it. It's like there's a famous skit of Marceau like butterfly catching, and he creates all of the objects and whatnot. But then, in a moment, his hand becomes the butterfly, and it's kind of like magical, But it isn't just about creating those imaginary objects.
Yeah, it can go anywhere.
Yeah, it can.
And in the Japanese school where you have Buto,
That's a segue.
is that a segue? When you said your body becomes the machine, I was thinking, wow, it's like Buto, where you just sort of, I don't know what they're doing, but they're doing this beautiful movement that, I don't know what tell me what that is.
Well, with that, there's various schools as well.
Really? Holy mackerel.
Mm-hmm.
But oftentimes it's using imagery to evoke storylines or human experience, but oftentimes using imagery to within one's mind to create these sort of like experiences with the body and the group to evoke these sort of reactions.
Mm-hmm.
In the audience or within yourself and the people you're performing with?
Both.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Which I think is really powerful too, and that's interesting. There's a little Buto inspired in this show, I think.
Is there? At what point?
For me,
The boxes at the end, the anxiety
for
attack.
me, yeah, that is that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can see a little bit in just that last moment as the group enfolds around Montag and pulls him from the river. That feels to me similar in concept.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. In a way, those little solos that the characters have, I never thought about it until now. But that original that scene or that little solo with Millie, and then that little opening with Beatty.
Mm-hmm.
Or is it Beatty?
Beatty. I think we decided on Beatty, right?
Beatty, and I thought there was one other character, and with Clarice, that I saw as in my head. I think, well, I didn't realize it, but they seem a little Buto inspired. In fact, that would actually maybe help those scenes a little bit.
Yeah, kind of.
That's what I was just thinking. I was thinking, wow,
Thinking
that's
of
inspiring
metaphors
to me.
underground them, to ground those little pieces.
Are we grounded as a cast, do you think? Do you have any suggestions for me?
I think you guys are doing awesome. I agree with what Don said earlier. I think we're in a really good place. For me, the biggest challenge is getting all the tech to come together.
Yeah.
You have so many other things to worry about.
Get lights and masking and everything set up.
Yeah.
But I do think you guys are doing a really nice job with the ensemble work. I think
at this point, I wouldn't want to mess anything up.
No.
That's happening, and that would be the danger of making any major adjustments. At this point, would be to throw something off the rails. So right now, it's just tweaking, nothing major.
Nope.
Oh, it's looking better and better. We're just polishing.
Yeah.
On the gray scale of minimalist to maximalist, where do you two stand? I know Brian's a maximalist.
That's accurate.
I'm a minimalist.
Are you? So how do you work together on that on this show?
I think it's a wonderful balance.
What I love about this show is it has all the things I love about Quasi. Puppets, physical theater, regular acting, crazy costume changes, music. I made him do a spit take. Yes.
Yeah, that is my fault. Totally.
No, and it's not your fault. That's your skill. I love it. I love that stuff. And so you're thinking it works together, the maximalism and the minimalism.
Yeah, part of our goal from the very start was to take full advantage of what makes both of our styles successful and to balance each other out in that way. And I think we've done a really nice job of doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How is it? Give me an example of a potential struggle or where it fit together really well.
It seems like it's been a very organic process.
It really has been. There hasn't been a real need of us sitting down and being like, well, I really think that maybe we should go in this direction on this, and then hashing it out.
Yeah.
Nothing's ever really had to be dealt with that way.
No.
I've been really grateful with the way that we've been working together.
Yeah.
To be able to just glance at each other and be like, and be able to communicate to each other sort of almost silently minor adjustments to whatever's being worked by whoever's in lead at that moment to find a nice a balance that is not mediocrity, but lifting.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. Right. Yeah, you don't want to...
Yeah, that's always the danger with a collaboration like this. Is if nobody wants to offend anybody, so we end up with some sort of like mediocre.
Yeah.
You think that compromise means compromise?
Compromise, and it doesn't. Compromise means coming to an agreement that utilizes the best elements each person is bringing in order to make up something better than the individual could create.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think that fundamentally, you it seems, at least to me, that you and I share a lot of things in common. Yeah. So, I mean, even though he's more minimalist and I'm a bit more maximalist, that somehow the underlying principles of how we work and the things that we value in theater and performance are in line.
Very much so,
yeah.
I think.
It's been a very easy, process. When either of us have been like working on specific scenes. I mean, I feel it's always been comfortable with Don coming in and tweaking it.
And likewise.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've never felt as though I'm being dismissed or overruled in any way. I always feel like anything Brian was contributing actually made the work I was doing better, and the work the performers were doing better.
Excellent.
And that's sort of ideal when you're working in collaboration with somebody.
Yeah.
And it's difficult to find, so I'm very grateful that's been the case.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Maybe there will be many more collaborations.
Yeah, I hope so.
Nice.
Excellent. Yeah. So both of you work in non-traditional theater. Do you think that more people should work in non-traditional theater? Because our vision as Americans of acting is just the one thing, the Oscar performance. Somebody's crying, right? The reproduction of reality, or the pretense that we're pretending to be real. But there's other kinds of acting, right? There's melodrama, there's physical acting, there's different things, there's mime. Mm-hmm. And you two incorporate those other things. Why do you think there's resistance to that? Or is it not resistance, it's just ignorance? Or...
Wow, that's such a huge topic.
I think it's just a lack of exposure. There's just simply a lack of exposure. For many reasons, I'm sure. One of it being the commercialization of theater, to be honest. I mean, I don't necessarily mean that as some sort of evil thing. But there's something nice about the recognition, and a simple, easy recognition of an actor on stage portraying a realistic character that we can identify with is a lot more comfortable to interpret than some abstraction. And then that becomes sort of like a self-feeding sort of like track that we end up on over time. So you do that for decade after decade after decade, and you end up with only realistic theater. I don't think people are I think people would enjoy more non-traditional work if they had more opportunity to experience more non-traditional work. I don't think people should make it just for the sake of making it. Don't be weird just to be weird. Right. Don't make it because you think that there's a lack of it. Only make it if it's what you truly want to be making. And if you do truly want to be making it, I say make it.
Right.
It'd be great to have more of it.
Yeah.
I encourage more of it. I would love to be able to go to see more of it. But only if it's what people really want to be doing, not just because it's a niche that can be filled.
For me, like this show, the type of work that we do is very it's visceral, and it combines the art forms it combines like music and visual art, and it's exciting. So I think that I think that this piece and most of the work that we do is very accessible to audiences. There's a lack of exposure to it. And it's like, what is it about live performance, live theater that sets it apart from the other mediums? I think you have to embrace that. But in the commercial and popular theater that we have today,
they're trying to emulate.
They're trying to emulate for the most part.
Right.
In fact, even like either stark realism or like trying to go straight realism, or they're reproducing like movies into musicals and stuff that you can it's like just get it on Netflix. That's what I don't understand.
I used to say all the time, television will always do realism better, so why?
Right.
Why try and recreate it? Why not embrace the medium that we're working in?
Yeah.
Which is live performance.
I agree.
Yeah.
Right. Particularly since television has the higher budget, they can get all the props, and yet you don't need any props. Right?
You don't.
So you can just go out on the back of a cart. What's that? Kirk was doing a show that had a specific name to its style. Trotteau takes place in a 4x8 square.
4x8 square. Yeah, we our company, he and Posey pitched a Trotteau-based production to Cooperative Performance, and they performed it last 2 springs ago. It was very successful, really wonderful show. I was just overhearing them talking to someone else. I think they're remounting it and making another Trotteau piece now. Just the two of them, not based out of not produced by Cooperative Performance. So it's
There's
great.
so much potential for that, and when particularly being an audience member watching a show, and the audience adds to the energy of the room. The energy of the room. There's no energy in the room in a movie theater.
No.
Let alone on Netflix.
No, there isn't.
But in theater, you're breathing the same air.
Yeah.
Right? And every breath you take changes the air. The pressure of the air, the content of the air. It's when you're in that same space, you share the experience on a very fundamental level, which really opens us up to empathetic experience.
Yeah, and it's the same. The actors feel that too,
and feed off of it.
Yeah,
There's
or
an
get killed
exchange,
by it.
certainly.
Starved. Yeah, theater is great.
Yeah.
So exactly. So why emulate TV?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Were you asking a question, or are you?
I guess it's
agreeing with what we were
technically there
saying?
was a question mark at the end of that
Right,
sentence,
right.
but it was not a question.
Yeah. Why?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
All right. Well, maybe we'll be able to make inroads now that we've made an inroad into Milwaukee physically with physical theater. Wow. I'm blowing my mind. Probably not your mind, but I'm blowing my mind, which is easy to do. We're almost out of time. Where can everybody find you two online and in Milwaukee? And are you ever taking your show on the road? Quasi went to New York a couple years ago.
We did. Yeah. Yeah, that was with Kamikaze, Cute Sauce, Cosplay Club, full title. We toured Jenny Ranke's one-woman show this summer. It's called Mrs. Wrights. And to, I don't know, like 7 different locations or something like that.
Cool.
But they can find us online. I don't think we have any current tours or anything like that planned. I thought that this might be like a good show to do at the Fringe Festival next summer.
Might be, yeah, it'd be kind of fun. I think it should be submitted.
Yeah, we
Why
should
not?
talk about that. Maybe talk to the cast. Because, yeah, I mean, yeah.
All right, I'm in.
Ah!
Okay, what's Quasi's website?
Quasimondo.org.
And that's not Quasimodo.
It is not Quasimondo.
No, it is not Quasimodo. It is Quasimondo.
It is Quasimondo.
Yeah.
Quasimondo.org.
Okay, not the Quasimondo?
Nope.
Okay, well, we'll get it right in the show notes. How about you, Don?
We took we've only taken one show on the road so far. It was Itopia. We took it down to the Chicago Fringe.
Oh, cool. How was that?
It was good. It was it's still pretty close to home. It was a nice small cast. It was well received. We like keeping things local, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah.
When you say local, do you mean old Milwaukee?
Like primarily Milwaukee. We've taken 2 shows to the Milwaukee Fringe.
Okay.
Yeah. It's an effort to take a show on the road.
Huge effort.
Yeah.
I'll
And it's
bet.
a financial investment to do
Yeah,
something
you
like
can only
that,
do it a
too.
couple times, and it doesn't give back financially.
Well, sometimes it can.
It's like with a larger cast, you really have to have an infrastructure.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're right. I mean, you have to have a huge infrastructure. Otherwise, you're not going to make any money off of it.
Yeah, like Itopia was 4 cast members and me.
Okay.
And that's
So-
that's like too many.
Yeah,
That's too many.
Yeah.
It was in Chicago, so some of them just commuted to Chicago
Right.
for the 3 performances.
Sure.
But if we had gone any further, I mean, you're talking. You need travel, you need per diem so that they can eat. You
Yeah.
need hotel space,
Sure.
right? It's yeah. And the larger the cast, the more difficult it is. I mean, if you're taking a solo show on the road, that's simple. You just pack up your car and you go.
That's what
Yeah.
Jenny's show was.
Okay. Sure.
One woman
Easy to
show,
do.
very simple. But even that, I mean, the amount of time that goes into coordinating,
Just the
and
logistics
booking.
of it. Yeah. Plus,
Even,
you have to do all your own advertising.
right.
Yeah.
And that was her and I. It's still, we made a little bit of money off of it.
Oh, congratulations. Enough for lunch.
Right.
Hey, you're doing well then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if folks want to find us, they can find us at cooperativeperformance.org.
2 O's. Co-op.
Yep.
Cooperative.
It's a mouthful.
Mm-hmm.
We've actually shortened our name.
What did it used to be?
Cooperative Performance Milwaukee.
Oh, okay. Sure.
But people, I mean, we're in Milwaukee. It's kind of obvious.
No,
Kind of redundant.
It was very
Right.
redundant.
Oh, we had the same thing. We were originally Quasi Mondo Milwaukee Physical Theater.
Really?
Yeah. Cut Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Why do you need it?
Exactly.
Right.
We're living it.
We are living it. We
Yeah.
are it.
Yeah.
And yeah, the show. People should get their tickets for the show.
Yes. How
They're
can they do
cheaper
that?
online.
They're cheaper
Tickets are
online. How much are they on?
They're 17 online.
They're 17 online.
20 at the door.
Show opens a week from today.
A week from today. You can go to either
Wait,
of
okay.
our websites.
A week from the day we're recording, this will be broadcast at a different
sorry.
date. So
It opens November 30th.
it opens November 3rd.
Friday, November 30th. Plays until December 15th.
Yep. Our curtain is 7 p.m. Get there a little early so
December
you can get your favorite
15th?
seat. Yep.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
It's 3 weekends, Friday, Saturdays.
Oh, okay. And curtain opens early so that.
Curtain opens at 7, so that's earlier than usual for most shows. So make sure folks get there early enough to pick out their favorite seat.
House will open at 6:30.
Yep.
And come
dressed warm.
come dressed warmly.
Yeah, wear some socks.
Wear some socks and a good sturdy coat.
Yep.
It'll be
It'll be chilly.
a little chilly.
It'll be probably, we're guessing it'll be probably about 50 degrees in
Yeah.
this case.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually not that bad.
No.
But
I've enjoyed it.
I haven't been sitting down the whole time either.
Right.
I have been.
Oh, have you
And
been?
I have been sitting down the whole time, right?
Yeah.
All right.
It ain't that bad.
It's not that bad.
If you're layered, you're fine.
Yeah.
If you're from Wisconsin, you
If
should
you're
be
from
acclimated by now.
Wisconsin, you're
Right.
fine. Yeah.
Right.
All right, so it's been a great show. Today we talked about cooperative, physicality, Asian art form, Suzuki method, Jacques Lecoq, the moving body, P3 East, devising process, directing, Celcius 232, mime, corporeal mime, collaboration, rewards and drawbacks of theater, and much, much more. Thank you for listening and/or viewing, Cave Dweller. This has been Image for Hire. I'm the Skrauss. See and/or hear me again in 1 week, where I'll have even better interviewing skills. Ja,